In a world where carbs are your enemy, you need one man to help you fight your battles. That man is Jimmy.
Combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live. And we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. If you want to engage in the content, here's how it works. We start off over on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram already, go follow me at Livin' Low Carb Man. That's LIVIN LOWCARBMAN. Once you are there, you can engage in the content live, just like these people are doing right now. Thanks for being here, you guys. If you missed the live, you can actually watch it on replay for up to 24 hours. After 24 hours, it does disappear, but never fear. We got you covered there as well. We put all the past episodes up on YouTube. Just type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants, either in a YouTube search or a Google search. You will find the show. Finally, we have a Jimmy Rants podcast, which has the best moments of this here show in podcast form. It's on Apple Podcasts as well as Stitcher. All of these links, you guys, are at JimmyRants.com. Today's Jimmy Rants is one that I've been wanting to talk about for a little while, because I have a lot of friends that are online, both in the keto, nutritional health world, as well as non-keto people. Yes, I do have friends outside of keto. Imagine that. So they have noticed something really strange has happened to the online world. And I want to ask you guys the same question. Have you noticed that the internet has gotten quite ugly? I mean, like incredibly vicious, brutal language. Never in the history of mankind have humans talked to other humans in the way that they talk to each other online. And of course, I've been seeing this for a little while. I've been online since the early 90s. Yes, the internet was around in the early 90s. I was in college right around 1993 was when I went to grad school, 93 that fall. And I remember even then, as the internet was starting to become a thing, and then within a couple of years after that, it became, more proliferated, and obviously today much more proliferated, that people were already starting to talk to each other in an ugly way. But it seems to have jumped the ugliness. It seems to have jumped to a whole new level, like in the last year or so. And of course, it always manifests in these conversations around ideology. So in the political realm, it's really, really bad, ugly. But even in the nutritional health realm, people are like, you're just talking about diet. But guess what? People are extraordinarily ugly. You should see some of the things that are said about Jimmy Moore online. If you want to have fun and have lots of time to kill, just Google my name and any derogatory remark that you want to find. There are whole blogs that were created just to discredit me and say ugly, vile things to me. And on a daily basis, I've talked to you guys about this before on Jimmy Rants. On a daily basis, I get a lot of that kind of stuff. So what I want to talk about here today is all the people that think, all right, it's bad, it's ugly, the internet has gotten hysterical, I'm just going to leave it. And so what I would ask you guys is the answer to internet ugliness to flee from it? And then the sidebar of this is, how do good people survive? Because I'll be honest with you, some days I get inundated with all that hate and all that ugliness that it's very tempting to just say, delete account. Can I get a witness, anyone? I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're a good person, you appreciate the content that I provide. But on this exact video that I'm posting on YouTube and this exact live that I'm doing here on Instagram, there are people that will say the most vicious, ugly, vile things you've ever heard in your life. And so how do you survive? Mentally, it's taxing. And I'm gonna share very personal here. Christine, my wife, she's about to make this jump, you guys, where she's going to get off of social media because it has become so overwhelming to her. Now, I've done this for a long time. I've been online since 2000, with nutritional health, since 2005. I've been online much longer than that. But since being involved in the nutritional health industry, I've been online for 15 years. And I can tell you that there is a great temptation to want to get off. Now, guys, relax. I'm not going anywhere. They can only hope to shut Jimmy Moore up because I have a voice and I'm not afraid to keep on keeping on. And that's part of the strategy I want to share, how good people survive. You know how we survive? We keep doing the work that's pissing them off to begin with. Honestly, if they're that emotional to the point that they need to use vicious, vile, ugly language, you're doing something to evoke that kind of response. And so for me, it becomes, all right, well, if I'm evoking that kind of a negative response, that must mean there's lots of people that get lots of positivity out of it as well. But back to Christine for a second. She's a very emotional creature. And so this tears her apart. When they say anything, forget what they say about her. When they say anything about me, it just rips her and it ruins her. I mean, like last night, somebody said something yesterday, and last night she lost sleep over it. And I'm going, honey, you can't allow those kinds of people who have nothing better in the world than to hide behind a computer and tap, 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 and whatever they're going to do. It doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change anything. All it shows is, all right, there's another a-hole that doesn't know how to talk to another human being. So I think what we in the good people category do to survive is we keep being positive and we keep engaging in a non-judgmental kind of way. It is so incredibly easy. And I've talked about this before on other previous Jimmy Rants, but it is so easy to, when you see something you disagree with, to automatically jump on the person who is saying that rather than responding to the subject that you disagree with. It's okay to disagree with a subject. So let me give you an example. So let's say I post something about nutritional ketosis. If somebody writes back, I'm a vegan and I don't think being in a state of ketosis is necessarily a healthy thing. I respect that you've got health from that, and I believe that you are seeing great benefits from that. I wish you well in your keto journey, but I myself could not do it. That is a great response. But here's what happens 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100. Oh, well, keto, that's just going to kill you. You need to stop eating meat. If you just got off your fat, bleep, and just got your act together, maybe you'd finally lose weight and keep it off for once. Do you see the difference? So the former is a show of respect, a show of love, a show of humanity towards your fellow humankind. And the second one is just being a jerkwad, right? So I think we resist the urge to respond in kind. And if you resist that urge, then you don't feed into the ugliness. Because here's the thing, people are watching. And people are fleeing, actually. I see it all the time. People are like, I just can't handle all the negativity, I'm off. And they don't ever get to benefit from all the good stuff that happens online. There is still a lot of good stuff that happens online. Even with all the ugliness, all the negativity, there is so much good that happens online. My entire career in the nutritional health space has all been predicated on being online and being involved in social media and producing podcast content and making videos. That's been my jam. And so if at any point I had made the decision, well, good people just need to flee away from this kind of thing, how many good people would be left? And then what about those poor souls that come online trying to learn about keto, for example, and all they're exposed to are the jerkwads, right? So for me, I see it as a challenge. Okay, there's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of ugliness out there. What can I, as one person in this space, do? I can stand apart from that. Don't participate in the negativity. Be positive always. Be encouraging always. Be willing to do things that make you vulnerable always. Somebody on Twitter just yesterday, by the way, said I was feeling a little bit narcissistic, and I, what do I have to offer the community? But then I see somebody like Jimmy Moore have a platform, and I felt all better. And of course, he was kind of being derogatory that he didn't think I deserved to have a platform. And my response back to him was, I have a platform because people love me, because they appreciate my realness. They appreciate that I'm not this perfect model, this perfect everything. Although I am an Adonis, so. But he couldn't understand how I could possibly have a platform in the health and diet space. And I'm like, I don't treat people ugly. I treat people with respect. I treat people with love. And I'm a giver. I totally give back a lot of time and energy and resources to the people that follow my work. And they keep following. That's you guys. So I appreciate that. But he couldn't understand that. So when I responded in kind, he was like, oh, well, I didn't mean any disrespect. I was just making the comment how it's amazing how you've built this great platform. He kind of tried to walk it back a little bit, but that was fun. So what I'm trying to say here, you guys, is this. You're going to see ugliness. That's just a fact of life when it comes to being online. You just have to know that. You just have to know that there's always going to be that online internet ugliness. And is our answer to that to flee from it? I don't think so. I think good people need to be online now more than ever before. And guys, this is 2019. Come 2020, this message is going to be so critical because there's going to be such vile ugliness and everything just with the political stuff. Never mind all the usual stuff that happens in the day-to-day. It's going to be ugly like you wouldn't believe. And I couldn't believe in like the last presidential cycle how, just vile it got, to the point that people just got offline and just, it was bad. And so I want to shoot the first sign of positivity out there. Let's be better than that. Let's stand out because of our positivity, stand out because of our love and respect for each other. We need to make sure we are not feeding into that beast that is the internet ugliness, and instead we are standing out as a juxtaposition to that. Okay? So can you commit to that with me now? That if you're you're obviously online because you're watching this, but can you commit that if you have those feelings, and I know a lot of you do, of what do we do as good people? Do we stick around or do we flee? I encourage you to stick around and be that positivity that maybe somebody out there needs to see. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Welcome in, welcome in. Lots of people here today. Thanks for being here, you guys. Hello from Norway. Thanks for being here, Liv. Always great to have you on my Instagram live, Jimmy Rants. Val says, I finally caught a live from the beginning. Welcome, Val. I'm glad you got to see it as well. Elise says, it's just so sad. It really is, Elise, that we have degraded as a society so much that we would treat another human being the way that I see people being treated online. A lot of what I see is what's directed towards me, but I see a lot of stuff directed towards other people. Just go to the comment section of any news article where they allow comments. it's the most whack thing ever. Now, if you have a good attitude about it, it can actually be humorous and entertaining in some ways, but sometimes it just goes deep into the morass, and I'm like, all right, I'm out. I can't read all that. Josh says, strange recently. It's been going on for years. Yes, Josh, it has been going on for years, but the intensity of it has gotten really bad in just the last couple of years. That's what I'm talking about. Obviously, I've been online for 15 years with the nutritional health stuff. It's been out there all along. I remember Christine and I used to do this show called Livin' La Vida Low Carb on YouTube. This was before I started my podcasting. And so we used to do that, and people would just mock us in the comment section. And of course, again, it would devastate Christine to no end. She had a neck surgery at the time, so she had to wear a little halo thing, and so they were mocking her, and of course with the glasses called her Four Eyes, and I was always fat, and it was just funny, the ugliness. But it's gotten worse in the social media generation. Mitzi says, little cowards hiding behind their computer or phone. Yeah, very easy to hide, that's for sure. Hello, Jess. Thanks for being here. Josh says, keyboard warriors. Yep. Ashton says they feel safe behind the keyboards, think it gives them license to be rude and ugly. And I want to know, what effect is that having on our culture, on our society? And I think it's spilling now over into human interaction, not just online interaction. I think some of the nastiness that we see happening in real life is a direct result of the desensitization, whatever that word is. Desensitized. That's what I'm trying to say. That we become desensitized to each other's feelings because of the way we talk to each other online, so that when we now engage in public discourse with each other in human contact and physically in person, it's totally changed the way we talk to each other. It's weird. Selena says, I've stopped listening to some podcasters for the continuous arguments with vegetarians. Yeah, I've never understood doing that constant argument kind of podcasting. That's not my style. Now, when the vegans came out with their What the Health documentary, and they made a whole film about a lot of the nonsense that they put out there, I did respond to that on my Keto Talk podcast. But I don't sit there and just berate them every single week, every single episode. That serves no good purpose. So you're right. You do have to let go of some of those people. W. Deal says, I think some people are so miserable themselves, they feel the need to drag others down. That is a big part of this as well, that there are people who have no joy in their life, nothing that gets them jazzed. So if they do this and they want to rile up Jimmy Moore, try to anyway, that's how they get their kicks. So Leslie said, don't you go away, F them. We need you, man. Don't go. I'm not going anywhere. No. Don't misrepresent or misunderstand what I'm saying here. I'm going nowhere. Obviously, if I was going to go away, I would have gone away a very long time ago, you guys. And for a while there, I mean, it was just like ruthless, and it still is now. It's a little better now because I can insulate myself from those comments. But back in the day when it was just Jimmy Moore, it was very difficult. Thank you, Jay Padillo. I love you too. Thanks for being here. Jess says the answer is not to run, especially those of us who are trying to affect positive change in the health world. We have a duty to cleanly fight the good fight. It's what I try to do on a daily basis, you guys. Those of you that watch Jimmy Rants regularly, you know that that's my jam. Joshua says, block. I've blocked hundreds. Well, blocking is one thing, but if somebody tags me in a comment on Twitter, I have to see it because they tagged me. If they write a blog post about me, I have to see it. So that's part of the challenge here, as it's not just as easy as just block and then you never saw it. Well, yeah, you did. You saw it. I don't think the answer is to leave the internet, says W. Deal, because even though you have ugly people, there are literally thousands of us that need you. We appreciate your information. I'm not going anywhere. I'm sticking around, I promise you. Sherry says it's not going to get any better, so we just need to keep doing what we're doing. I mean, who are these people anyway? Sherry, I love you. That's awesome. We need to rise above it and continue to stay risen above it. I agree. Kimberly said, good will always prevail over evil. I've heard that somewhere before. Your message has helped so many. I pray you don't go away. I'm not going anywhere, guys. Your voice is positive and so worth sharing. Thank you for being here. Ashton says, I choose to not engage with these type of people since all they do is give what they want and keep their ugliness going. Yeah, that's what they want. And that's the thing. People are like, well, you need to respond to this person that called you fat. I'm like, why? What positivity would come from me from responding to someone who does not know me? I have a lot of people that pretend like they know like how I eat. They'll say little snide things like, oh, come on, tell people you're actually eating donuts on the side. And I'm going, I haven't had a donut in almost 15 years. What are you talking about? Oh, it's not possible that you eat keto and low carb and you're still fat. And I'm going, okay, how do I positively respond to this without wanting to punch them in the face? You know what I'm saying? So all I can do is just share facts. And the fact is I haven't had any of that stuff. Mark says, I try to limit my social media time to a few hours or less on the weekends. If I spend too much time, I begin to feel anxious. I lose sleep. That's what happened to Christine. I'm thinking for Christine, she's going to have to completely go off of social media, which will be sad because she wants to stay in touch with family, but she doesn't have to deal with the a-holes out there. W. Deal says, I saw Kim Howerton posted recently about how people are so ugly to her too. Oh yeah, Kim and I, we share lots of war stories about how people treat you online. It is extremely difficult to deal with. And I know that part of that is producing some stress in my life that could be making me hold on to some extra weight, which, oh yeah, by the way, this is the funny thing too. A lot of the snide comments that are made of, well, you should try to be more proactive about losing weight. I never thought of that before. Wow, thank you for this revelatory information. Never mind, I've lost 20 plus pounds. So they're not paying attention. So when I see somebody say, you know, you should really try to lose weight, I'm like, is over 20 pounds in the last month not enough for you? So they're not paying attention to the work. Why should I pay attention to them? I love you're bringing awareness to this. Yeah, at least nobody talks about this stuff. And I think it is an underlying problem that so many people are trying to figure out what to do about. Do I flee the internet and go about and do my work offline? Do I stay online? And how do I deal when I get one of these kind of people that come on to my website and onto my social media pages? How do you deal with it? And it's a tricky balance. I get it. And also your personality type. I sometimes like to engage in conversation because I don't always see someone who talks that way as a hater. I talked about this before. I don't always just automatically view someone like that as a hater. Sometimes they just don't know how to talk to people because they are mimicking what they've seen other people saying online. So I'll engage with them. Then if they come back, double down ugliness, then they're blocked and deleted and we move on. But sometimes they're like, oh, dang, you're a lot nicer guy than I thought you would be. Everybody told me you were a butthole. And I'm like, I don't know why you would get that impression of me. I've been nothing but kind to everybody online. Beth says, I would hope Christine understands that she has so many more encouragers and cheerleaders behind her and beside her. But besides her haters, I hate for her that she's affected by online hating press. She always has been, Beth. Always has been. When it was just me. And I'm hesitant about sharing with her like any of the kind of ugliness that I see, because I know it just devastates her and she won't let it go. And I told her it's just a part of the territory of being online and being an online personality that people know. It's just the reality, sadly. Kai says, I choose to love rather than hate. And I think that's the answer, Kai, that how good people survive is not to flee away from all this internet ugliness, but to embrace that we're online and to choose to be positive and loving and kind and humane with everybody we encounter. Marilyn says, don't react to the uglies. It's a good strategy. We need to flood the internet with good positive info and attitudes to drown out the bad, make them the minority. And here's the thing, W. Deal. I think most people in general would be pretty positive and loving. But what happens is this. Someone posts something that's incendiary. Someone else who's a good person responds going, oh, that's horrible. You can't say that. And then somebody sees that angst and they respond in the same negative way. And it's this cascade. Whereas if somebody posted to that exact same person, you know, I understand your position. Thank you for sharing your opinion. It's really great to hear other people's perspectives when I'm online. So I appreciate you sharing your perspective. Here's my perspective on the same issue. Thank you again for sharing, and I hope everybody has a great day. See how the latter was positive, and then that positive one will then have an echo chamber of positivity with other people that see it. So can we be a part of that positive change? Can we be a part of that positive language that people see? When you see something ugly, respond in a positive, loving, human way, rather than to lash back, which is the easy way out, which is the way so many people do. And that's why the ugliness pervades. We can change the culture, guys. Unfortunately, these types of people will always be there. That's right, Lady Lixel. Leaving the internet or getting upset about what they say gives them the power. It does. There's immense value in transparency and vulnerability when educating. And Jess, I wish everybody had the courage, I suppose, to be able to do that. Because you put yourself out there. I mean, I've talked very openly about having the ongoing weight stuff still going on. It's moving in the right direction now. But I've talked very openly about it. And yet every time I post a video and these videos go up on YouTube, I get some snide comment that says, well, if you're so keto and you've been keto for so long, why are you a fat MF, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? You have to go through all of that every single time I post a video? It's unnecessary. Kitty Caddick, knowing you personally and seeing that hate online, why hate? Why so much poison? Must be miserable, lost souls. I don't know. I can't see much because I'm not online as much as everyone else. You're not missing much, Cat. You're really not. Even some folks in the keto space are ugly, rotten, nasty to each other, and it sucks. So that's the other thing. I have a friend in the keto space who came to me and said that he's completely going to detach from the keto community now because of the ugliness. And it got spurred by somebody that had made a post about junk food. And in the junk food, they had posted various pictures of food products that keto people use. And one of the things that they threw in there was the keto brick product from my friends Crystal and Robert from Keto Savage. And they threw the keto brick in there as one of the junk food products in keto. And so there was kind of this online ugliness, trash talking thing that started from that, from all the people that love the keto brick and all the people that thinks you only need to be eating all real whole foods all 100% of the time. And it became this kind of contentiousness that this keto friend of mine said, look, I don't need to be exposed to all that. And I'm like, so you would rather leave the internet and not engage in people, because this person I'm talking about is a very positive person with their content about keto. And yet he was like, I'm not going to engage in that, and I don't want to be a part of that anymore. And that to me is what's sad. That to me is, if we drive away all the good people in this community, if we drive all of them away, here's what happens. People Google keto. They don't find the good people anymore. All that's left are the arses. And if the arses are arses, how good of a name do they give keto? Nobody will try this way of eating. So I choose to be positive. I choose to stay online. I choose to take a lot of arrows, you guys. A lot of arrows. Because I see the bigger picture of people need to hear the message. And if they need to hear the message and we're not here to give them that message, how do they get the message? We've got to stay online. Just, you were the one that said keto space rotting each other. Yep. Angel's lifestyle choices. That's why we are here, showing our respect and love for you and Christine. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Jax says, I often begin typing rebuttals, then I delete what I have to say because there's no point arguing with people who already have their minds made up. That is such a great strategy. Type it out, but then delete it. That way you get all those emotions out of you, but you don't expose the world to more ugliness. And guys, I'm talking about myself as much as anybody. I've talked about this before. I've made some mistakes where I've posted things to people that they said some ugly, ugly things to and about me. And I responded back in a moment of weakness in the same way. So this is hard. I realize this is incredibly difficult what I'm asking good people to do. But you got to do it. We've got to stay engaged and not be a part of that negativity. Just turn them around with kindness back. Yes, Liz, that's exactly right. They're already coming from an unhappy place. And I always try to view, okay, they wrote this ugly thing about me who they do not know. Although a lot of people think they know me because you see me on video every day. They hear my voice on my podcasts. And so, oh, I know you. Well, you know who I am online, which, by the way, I'm the same person in person. If you ever meet me in person, I'm exactly the same person. But people have that familiarity, and so they think they know who you are, and thus they will say some really weird things to you. And I know who you are. Steph says, the ugly stuff today for me in my keto story, constant accounts using my photos to sell their stuff. Yeah, that's a whole nother Jimmy Rants I could do of some of the vile stuff that happens online. But yes, that does happen. Grandma does keto. I'm literally noticing with a baby blog and my tiny presence, and yet I've had most people follow me solely to mock keto or any of my other posts. What on earth is going on in their lives to make them so empty? And I try to put myself in their shoes. What would make you type all of these things to me, someone you do not know? What possesses you to do that? And at what low point in your life have you gotten to that you feel the need to do that and think that that's okay? Thriving on fat, kill them with kindness. Yes, yes, yes. Jax, you were asking a question. She says, what's ever happened to the art of debate? I have been asking that same thing. There was a popular show on CNN way back in the 90s called Crossfire. And on there, they would have two people on different sides of an issue, both for and against, and they would debate. And at the end of it, they would shake hands and everybody was civilized. People used to learn from debate. Now debate is synonymous with divisiveness and leads to nastiness and mudslinging. And it doesn't need to be that way. I don't have hatred for any vegan. I don't. I have no hatred for a vegan. If you eat plant-based and you're getting healthy as a result of that, I am your best bud. I want to see you be healthy, whatever means you choose. And I would expect the same kind of respect back. If you don't eat meat and yet I'm eating an all-meat diet and I'm getting good results in my health, I would hope that you would have the love and respect for your fellow human to encourage me to keep going. The ugly people can't stand it when we don't feed into their hatefulness. And that's why I'm always super kind, Ashton. When I'm responding back, I'm always like almost over the top, kind and respectful back. Because sometimes you take them off guard when you do that. And so if you show kindness to people that are being incredibly ugly to you, some people will change their minds. And I've had this happen quite a bit, you guys, where I'll respond like really, really kind back to somebody that said some really ugly viciousness to me. Not always. A lot of times they'll come back, double down with the ugliness when I do that, and that's when you block and delete. But sometimes they'll come back and go, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I didn't realize you yourself were going to read this. That's the other thing, because you're an online internet personality, people think, oh, well, you're not reading your own social media. Want to bet? I see every bit of my social media. All the negativity slides right off the fat that I eat, says Jax. Before I met you at KetoCon, says Dory. Hey, Dory. I had no clue how down to earth you are. Yeah, I'm just a dude. I tell people that. I'm not an MD, PhD, RD, or any D. I'm just a dude. And, yeah, I try to tell people that. Lori says, what the heck's wrong with people? Imagine if you knew them in real life. Most people would come up to me. I'm 6'3", so most people would not say the kinds of things to me in person, because most people aren't as tall as I am. Player's gonna play, hater's gonna hate. I'm just gonna shake it off. Shake it out, ow, ow. Back on keto after falling off the wagon. New day, new opportunity. We'll get it, Nick. If I can help you in any way, you let me know, dude. Trolls are the worst. Just so incredible how uneducated they are on science of keto. It's lame how they lash out and are so vicious. Part of the reason they're vicious is they don't have fat in the brains to help calm them down. Willow's mom, Christine, is so awesome. I hope she knows how amazing she is and cannot take it to heart. Well, unfortunately, that's just her personality. She will take it to heart. She will. So, Keto Kate, it's so noticeable that you've lost weight. Yeah, I've lost a pretty significant amount of weight very quickly on this keto carnivore thing. And I'm continuing it on, obviously. Right at 5 weeks now, I've been doing this. And over 20 pounds lost. So, yeah, I'm loving it. I think it was Socrates who said we shouldn't attack the ignorant, but rather pity them and try to educate them. Yep. We don't need keto snobs, says Liz Finesse 77. We need loving, humble keto friends. And I think it's important for those of us that have friends that tend to be a little bit, and I've talked about this before, passive-aggressive in the way that they write comments, to gently chide them for that, and say, you know what, try not to add the snarkiness in there, because it does have a negative impact, and it feeds into this whole ugliness that we're talking about. Yeah, I have a stuffed nose still, Amy. Sorry about that. Caitlin says, yes, same person. I'm the same person. It would be too much energy, Caitlin, for me to pretend to be somebody on Jimmy Rants, and then you meet me in person, you're like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? I'm exactly the same. And some people like that, some people don't. They're like, you should act more professional. I get a lot of ugly comments in the reviews of my podcasts. This guy is too silly. It's too much fun to listen to his podcast. Oh, I'm sorry that the podcast is too much fun. I like to have fun in life, and that's my jam. And if that's not your jam, then don't listen to my podcast. I hate vegan friends. They respect my way of eating. I respect theirs. Oh, I have vegan friends. Sorry, Val. You don't hate them. You have them. And that's good that you have ones that are willing to respect your choice. That's cool. Freely, the banana girl is promoting hate against people who eat meat. That may be a consequence of her actions. Yeah, Alberto, I actually interviewed her boyfriend Harley Johnstone, the 30 bananas a day guy on the Living La Vida Low Carb show. And interesting guy, but man, oh man, are they on a mission to get people who don't like, who eat meat. They just don't like them at all. Everybody is different. If keto doesn't work for you, it's okay. Do what works for you. Yeah, for sure. Would hope that you would pass out love to Christine from time to time. I give her love on a constant basis. Grandma does keto. I think of her every time I work in my garden. Well, cool. I'll let her know that. You are authentic, says George. Yeah, George, I've met a couple of times in Virginia Beach area. And, yeah, I just try to be the person that you see here on a daily basis on Jimmy Rants. It's what you deserve, right? So, guys, the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is the answer to internet ugliness to flee from it, to go away from it. And I'm making the argument here today that good people, no, do not go away. We need you now more than ever before, because we survive with the message that we're about, the positivity that we're about. And this goes well beyond nutritional health, by the way. This goes through every facet of society. If all the good people go away and no longer try to make a difference in the world, then who's left? All the ugliness. And so guess what new people coming online are going to be exposed to? All the ugliness. I choose to be one of the people who exudes positivity and love and kindness to everybody who encounters my work. And I think you should do the same thing as well. A little outside the beaten path of what I normally do here on Jimmy Rants, but I appreciate you sticking around. And that's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, pop on over to Instagram if you're not following me already. Go follow me there at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVIN, Once you're there, you can engage in the content live, just like all these people did here today. You can watch it for up to 24 hours on replay on Instagram. After 24 hours, poof, it does disappear, and it will be put on YouTube after that. So all my YouTubers, thank you guys for watching on YouTube. We are now up to 199 episodes with this one on YouTube. So go follow me there. Put in Jimmy Rants as a keyword search. You will find the show. Finally, the best of the best moments of this here show in podcast form is on the Jimmy Rants podcast, available on Apple Podcasts as well as Stitcher. JimmyRants.com is the website. So guys, those of you that are still here, I have a special surprise for you, because you don't want to miss episode 200. It's my very next Jimmy Rants. I will likely do this on Monday morning. So if you're watching this live right now, if you're watching it on replay Monday morning, or if you're watching on YouTube, Monday morning, I am doing episode 200, and I have a special surprise that I'm just going to flash this in front of the screen. This is your only clue, but I have a special surprise coming Monday morning. How's that for a tease? Because I'm the king of tease. So I hope to see you back. Don't miss tomorrow morning. Don't miss Monday morning's Jimmy Rants. I promise you, you won't want to miss it. It has to do with this. All right, guys, that's it. We'll see you next time. Bye.